Hello. I've had something on my mind all day, right? I went on Google this morning and saw that, Bethesda is still, of course, continuously updating Starfield, right? And I thought to myself, Starfield is already, I'd say, a decent game, a good game, maybe a great game. It's definitely not perfect. It's got its flaws, you know. But it's definitely not at its full potential. That's for certain. I don't think that Starfield is at all at its full potential. I think most of us that have played it can say that. It could be so much greater. I know it can. After the launch of Cyberpunk 2077, it's weird. I've said before, I wouldn't pay full price for a game that isn't up to par with my standards or isn't finished right. But the weird thing about Cyberpunk 2077 was that even though it wasn't finished, I feel that game was just so good. I saw the potential there. The potential I saw was so good that I feel like my money was well spent. And 4 years later, yeah, it definitely was money well spent. Because that game is freaking phenomenal in its current state. I think what's been on my mind all day is the fact that, we're living in a time where games can release unfinished, yet still be pretty good. And then as time goes on, the game becomes absolutely freaking astounding. Look at No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky's got too much going on for me to really get into it at this point, but I've seen what people have done and can do in that game, and it's pretty freaking incredible, I gotta be honest. And when it comes to, with Cyberpunk, man, the game was a mess. Visually, the bugs, the glitches, man, a whole 9 yards. That game was a freaking mess. The police system was practically non-existent. The cops really didn't, they didn't do anything. But now, man, I remember playing the game for the first time since that update it had when the DLC for it dropped. I remember I was driving down a road. There was a full-on police chase. A bullet hit my freaking character's car. I thought I was being shot at. Come to find out, that's the cops are chasing after the freaking maelstrom down the road. I'm like, what the hell? That wasn't there before. Full-on shootouts happen on blocks and corners in that game now. Night City feels alive. And it genuinely does feel dangerous now. That city feels really dangerous. As it is described, Cyberpunk 2077 has reached its peak, I think. Does it have its flaws? It still has its flaws here and there, but I think it's as good as it's gonna get, unless they add more. I hope if they do, great. When it comes to Starfield, though, the game released in a hell of a much better state than Cyberpunk 2077 was. Let's make that clear. That game was in a much better state than Cyberpunk 2077. And damn it, the concept of Starfield is a concept I adore. Spaceships, aliens, space travel, whether it's a freaking fast travel or not, I get to get in a spaceship and go places. I don't care. I really don't. Because realistically, it'll take way too long to fly from planet to planet manually. All right, common sense, people. Y'all know science, but people were really getting mad about that, so I had to make that clear. You know what I mean? Now, Bethesda keeps updating Starfield in the same manner. You know, No Man's Sky was updated, and in the same manner, CD Projekt Red kept updating Cyberpunk 2077. Could it actually get to that point? Could it reach its full potential, I wonder? And I feel like if Starfield did get to that point, man, I can't even imagine. Like, what could they add? What could they actually add? Like a game like that, there's many possibilities. I don't know if Bethesda will ever watch this video. I really don't, but Bethesda, please keep working on that game. You know, this day and age, I like to put myself in my younger self's shoes. And I ask myself, how would I have felt about this game 20 years ago? And I can honestly say, Cyberpunk 2077, I would have loved it 20 years ago. Starfield, I would have loved 20 years ago. I mean, look at Power World. Power World is a prime example. That game was released unfinished on purpose. You know, at this point, in this day and age, we're practically I think Doc Dark said this. Doc Dark 195 said this. We're pretty much the game testers. And sometimes it's really cool. Except for, you know, Redfall was a bust, unfortunately. But when a game like Cyberpunk 2077 comes out, and then you see it get to the point it's at, I don't know, that's really cool to me. That's really cool to me. I had this dislike of paying for a game that's unfinished, full price, but if the game is decent enough, I'm willing to pay for it, right? But of course, Doc Dark meant mainly for Game Pass games. Honestly, you know what? Thinking about that now, I hope more games get put in Game Pass like that. Decent but unfinished, and then we just see it grow. Then again, maybe that wouldn't work, but at the same, I really enjoy it now. I enjoy seeing it now. It's really cool. I want to see Starfield get to its full potential. I really do. Let's talk about this in the comments section. What do y'all think? What do y'all think they could add? Like, that would be amazing to watch this game reach that potential, man. It really would. You know what? Until next time, though, deuces.